Well, if ever there was a rationalization for the oppressive Middle Eastern garb known as the hijab, this is it, ladies and gentlemen.
U.S. women's fencing earned a bronze medal in the saber on Saturday. The team included Ibtihaj Muhammad, the first U.S. Olympic athlete to compete in a traditional Muslim headscarf.
I feel like my hijab is liberating. It is a part of who I am, and I believe that it allows people to see me for my voice and not necessarily how I look. I hope that it'll change a lot of the misconceptions that people have about Muslim women specifically.
Let's listen to that one more time.
Muhammad, the first U.S. Olympic athlete to compete in a traditional Muslim headscarf.
I feel like my hijab is liberating. It is a part of who I am, and I believe that it allows people to see me for my voice and not necessarily how I look. I hope that it'll change a lot of the misconceptions that people have about Muslim women specifically.
Oh my God. Oh. Oh, there's so many layers to this. Number one, there's the layer of Saudi Arabia funding American mainstream media. Number two, there's the feminist layer, where feminists seem to sympathize so much with Islam and Islamic rape culture and importing this backwards culture to the United States. You know, all the pushing Islamophobia stuff, don't be an Islamophobe, this SJW political correctness, defending a culture that should be indefensible by feminist leftist standards. It's called the regressive left. She said that the hijab is liberating because it allows people to see me for my voice instead of for what I look like, which feminists will salivate at this because it's essentially saying, hey, stop objectifying women. See women not for the way they look sexually, but strictly on the basis of more internal qualities and merits. So feminists just would love to hear that. And hey, maybe that explains why feminists love to sympathize with Islam. Maybe that explains why feminists love to glorify this culture. Because then the world would never have to see their round, obese, rotund bodies, fucking jiggling through the streets, because they'll be fully covered in hijabs. And maybe feminists think that'll equalize the dating field. Hey, if men can't see what women look like under these fucking capes and gowns, then maybe I'll get approached by more men than the fucking supermodel chicks who are taking all the cock.
That's not very traditional, and I think that a man should really pay for the first date.
Fuck that. We're splitting the bill.
So that's the number one. That's hilarious. Number two, let's just be honest here. I mean, the role that Saudi Arabian money plays in funding and manipulating the mainstream media. When you see a story like this, you might think on the surface, oh yeah, look, it's just a politically correct thing. The reason the mainstream media is pushing this story is because we should be accepting and tolerant, right? But when you really look at it and you really think about who's funding the mainstream media, Saudi Arabian money in our media, maybe the reason that this culture is being injected into the media and literally glorified, this woman here who's attempting to rationalize the hijab as some kind of liberating garb, liberating her from the oppression of men. It's ridiculous. It makes no sense. Maybe the reason that these stories are in the media is because it's supposed to push a foreign culture. It's not supposed to say we should be more tolerant. It's about injecting this culture into America so we become more like them in their attempts to take it over. That might sound ridiculous, but you guys might remember maybe about a year ago, Ahmed the Clock Boy, a certified hoax. The kids, he brought a little clock, a homemade clock. It wasn't even homemade, people found out. It's basically just a pre-made clock disassembled into a briefcase made to look like a bomb. It was obviously a deliberate political stunt, a publicity stunt, in order to generate sympathy for Muslims in America under the assumption that white people in America are racist Islamophobes. And it actually worked. And it didn't help that the mainstream media didn't report on it at all, that the thing was a total fucking hoax. It took random people on the internet to debunk this shit.
Well, let me just, he wants to be a tough guy, and it doesn't work very well with
How tough is it to take property from an elderly woman?
Let me talk. Quiet.
How tough
a lot of times.
So, it makes you wonder what kind of foreign interests masquerading as victims have infiltrated this country, and they call themselves migrants, they call themselves fighters for justice, but in reality they're just foreign operatives masquerading as immigrants, pushing their foreign culture with as much tribalism as the KKK would. Foreign countries, foreign races, foreign cultures pushing tribalism as much as the KKK would. Which is funny because the KKK and white people are always demonized as the only racist, when apparently half the people who are calling white people racist are racist themselves. So this is really funny. Just the notion that hijab is a liberating garment. Honestly, to be quite honest, I would actually say that women, biologically speaking, on average, they like to be subservient to a man of her choosing. Women love to get on their knees and serve the cock. I've said it before and I'll say it again. And maybe some women, an extension of women's natural inclination to want to serve a man, might manifest in hiding her body from the rest of the world and only unveiling it to the man that she's married to. So I can see why there's an appeal, probably subconsciously, to a lot of these feminists. Because feminists have a bizarre obsession with rape. You might have noticed that. Feminists love to talk about rape. To the point where they like to talk about fake rape cases. In fact, a lot of times they ignore real rape culture, like what's imported from Islam, and instead they push these pseudo-rape hoaxes on American college campuses where the girl got drunk, enjoyed the sex that night, but then woke up the next day after she got sober and realized, oh my God, I was raped, oh my God. So, feminists are obsessed with rape, but not in the sense of truly fighting rape culture. They're just obsessed with it in an infantile way, obsessing over false rape allegations and next morning regret rape cases. Which at the same time feminists are trying to demonize and say that being an assertive man, catcalling and street harassment, approaching a woman on the street and saying, hi, I think you're sexy, that's harassment, don't do it. The truth is that it makes you wonder why there's so much sympathy. Why do feminists sympathize so much with Islamic rape culture? So, this is humorous. The hijab is not liberating unless your definition of liberation is getting on your knees and serving the cock. And basically just doing whatever your man tells you to do. 50 Shades of Grey style, baby. And again, I'm not shaming women. If women want to get on their knees and serve the cock, that's great. I'm not complaining about that. So, it is what it is. So, thanks for watching, people.
That's not very traditional, and I think that a man should really pay for the first date.
Fuck that. We're splitting the bill. Fight back against YouTube censorship by supporting me on Patreon. You'll also get access to exclusive, never-before-seen videos and other perks like monthly Google Hangouts with me, free books and t-shirts, and more.